What's been the biggest repair bill you've got then? Because obviously you take it personal. What's been the worst state a machine's come back in, or cost, or
380 into the sea.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Bad. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, that's one that will stay with me forever. I was on holiday at the time.
Oh, that's not what you want to hear when you're on
No way. Hello and welcome to another episode of Talkin Shop. Today, we're at Tru7 Group with the Managing Director, Jake Nicholls. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe and let us know who you want on Talkin Shop next. So, thanks very much for letting us come down as well. I mean, it's a pleasure coming here, to be fair. It's an absolute wicked site, isn't it? So
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So tell us a bit about Tru7 for those who don't know, obviously, because you guys are very well known now, and yourself starting off.
Yeah, it's I guess it's a new old business, if you like. It's we started here, I think it was like 9 years ago. It's a 42-acre site. It was bought in the process of when my dad and auntie were selling their previous business called Fork Rent, which is now Ardent Hire, more or less. It got put together with another business called One Call. And basically the sale for that took a long time to go through, almost 2 years. And in that process, this property came available. The property that Fork Rent had was a very small yard in a couple of miles up the road in town. So it was a good opportunity, and my dad was kind of along the lines of it was never going to go through. He thought he was never going to sell the company. So bought the site, and then guess what? That went through, and so did the sale at the same time, more or less. So left with a big yard. It's an old sand pit with no extraction left. So, but it had recycling licenses on it. There was aggregate left here. My dad started screening and selling the odd bit, and the local tipper firm asked him what the fuck he was doing, and he went, "Oh, we'll see about that then," and give him a bit of a sting. So he gave him a sting back, and then here we are. 9 years later, pretty much.
Well done.
There's a lot more to it than that, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's changed a hell of a lot in that time.
Yeah. The thing I love about you guys as well is it's clearly obviously that's what you go for, but it's appearance, like it's a good impression, like even with the trucks, like they're all the spec and the decals on them as well. It looks
distinctive,
apart.
aren't they?
Yeah.
You know when they're around.
Yeah.
My dad's, that's him all over. He
wants the best of everything.
Yeah, he wants the best of everything, and he's a bit of a perfectionist, and he's sort of drilled that into all of us as well. Which,
just check the car park out.
Yeah. No, but he's extremely good at speccing vehicles, particularly. I guess his bread and butter was vehicles, buying from the auction, selling them. That was where everything started. So he's got an incredible eye for that type of thing, and to be honest, branding as well. He's so ahead of his time with our the brand that he created years ago with Trucks Are Us, which is a similar logo to the Tru7 Group logo. So yeah, he's pretty on it.
Yeah. No, I like that. The Trucks Are Us. Trucks Are Us. Because you guys do obviously it's the group now is pretty much a good way of summing up, because that's exactly what it is. You do guys do pretty much a bit of everything now, and then sell all the kit at the end of it when you're done with it.
That's it. Yeah. So I mean, it's I guess answering your first question, it's plant hire business, a commercial vehicle hire business. So the quietest part of the business is the vehicle hire. Is nearly 600 vehicles on fleet, from Hilux pickups up to 32-ton beaver tails, mixers, all the rest of it. So and then Tippers Are Us, which is our tipper business, recycling aggregate business, ready mix concrete and volumetric concrete as part of one business. Demolition as a demolition contractor, and earthworks contractor as well.
Yeah.
And then we've got Tru Ag, which is the bagged aggregate part that's on the weighbridge pretty much here. So local builders come and pick up their 1 ton of sand or whatever like that. And then obviously sales. So everything that we run, we buy ourselves. Obviously we buy them and then we sell them ourselves. So. Which is getting harder and harder.
Okay.
The more diverse the fleet gets, the harder that gets, and the more avenues you've got to try and open up for sale and all the rest of it. So, Yeah, I think I've got everything. I'm looking at the yard now, thinking I forgot one else. Sometimes
what else are we doing? Yeah.
It's but you know, there's obviously subsidiaries to each division as well now. Really, like demolition now does concrete cutting, and we're just trying to
sort of blend
get stronger,
blend them together really as well.
Yeah, exactly that.
Find the bits that do the best for the business and best profitable. And
it's you know, a challenge is those divisions, and they're siloed themselves, but equally trying to get them to work together. It's really difficult. You've got different characters of people and everything. So
I can imagine.
How did Fork Rent come about then?
So again, a long time ago, my granddad was a wheeler and dealer. He'd buy and sell anything. Barges, anything. He'd buy, you know, but predominantly vehicles. And my dad joined him at the age of 11. Pretty much left school there and then, and worked with him every day of the week. And they went through, you know, various bits and pieces, and then started buying and selling the odd machine. He had an opportunity to come up to buy 10 3CX backhoe loaders, and an owner of a plant hire company that's still around actually sort of asked him what the fuck he was doing. And the reaction was, "Oh, we'll see then." And then we went into hire. So that's the long and short of it, really. And,
so deep down, then the family really, it's salesmen.
Exactly that. And I would say I'm probably bucking that trend a little bit. It's not my bread and butter. But certainly my granddad, his family, and my dad, they're wheelers and dealers. You know, that's
it's a really important part to the business, isn't
massive.
it? You know, especially the foundations of it originally, you know, buying and selling them the right money to be able to make money and go forward.
Exactly that. So that's certainly how it's all come about. And then obviously a bit of, reaction to scenarios and proving people wrong. And, you know, I guess that's certainly like our makeup as a second name, definitely.
Sounds like your dad's one of these people that he gets his back up. He goes for it when, you know, the pressure's on, or somebody else, you know, has got a problem, or watch this then. I like that.
That's that. It's, extremely brave, extremely determined, but he's sharp as hell as well.
Yeah, fair play. Because how did you sort of come into the family business? Because obviously people will know you as motocross, you know, bike racing and whatever. So how did that come about? When did you decide? I'll stop racing and start doing this.
So 2017, May it was. I dislocated my hip in Italy racing a Grand Prix. I got left on the side of the track for about 18 minutes with one member of the ambulance team sat next to me. I then got taken to a hospital. They put it back in, but I got treated like a dog for 3 days. And I was 27. I'd been a professional since I was 15, and I was sort of declining in my performance. I'd moved up a category onto a 450cc bike, and it was my fourth year on that bike, and I really hadn't got anywhere. I was kind of dropping backwards, and actually, without going into too much detail, the day before I'd sort of had a little bit of a breakdown on the phone to my missus, and was like, I'm struggling. I can't go any quicker. I'm trying everything. And she'd basically said, like, don't worry about the results, just try and enjoy it. And there's 40 people in the motocross race, for people that don't know, and the top 20 are the only people that score points. And I was sitting around 21st, 22nd in the race when I had my injury, and I didn't actually crash either. I literally just went around a turn, caught my foot really awkwardly, and a dislocated hip is probably one of the worst you can have. And literally at that point, I my mum had come to watch me. So when you're a professional racer, naturally you race like 35 weekends a year, so people don't just come with you every time unless they're like super keen. So parents and missus didn't really come all that often at that point. And my mum had come, but she got food poisoning, so she wasn't at the event. And it was just accumulation of things. And she came to see me a day later in the hospital, and I was like, I want to start in the business. If
it could go wrong, everything was going wrong.
Exactly.
That week.
And I'm like a strong believer, without getting too deep too early, like a real strong believer in everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely.
And that really was that moment. And weirdly, like I'd bought business study books, and I'd started reading. I've always been a big reader.
Yeah.
And obviously when I was traveling a lot, you naturally read, and I was reading about that. So something was going on in my head anyway. Definitely.
The idea was already sort of there. And maybe
you just needed the push, literally off your bike.
That's it. Yeah, literally that. And the business was new. You know, I was employee number 57 at the Tru7 Group. So it was fairly new. And I felt like I could start somewhere. I've always drove machines. I've always built tracks in dozers and diggers. So, and we were like operating machines here, whereas Fork Rent was a self-drive hire business. There was no real feel for machines. And it was a massive business then, you know, before it got sold, and I just didn't know where I'd fit in. Yeah. You know, I didn't want to be in the office. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a mechanic. I've always been around bikes, engines, you know, bread and butter stuff. I know the crack, but I can't strip something down unless, you know, I'm not necessarily that way inclined. So I couldn't go into the workshop. So I kind of always steered clear of Fork Rent a little bit. And I honestly think it was as simple as like whenever I used to go there as a youngster, they'd all smoke in the office. Yeah. And they'd be like hanging smoke. Like my granddad, my aunt and my dad would smoke like 60 fags a day. And I'd literally come in like that. And my dad would be like, get your fucking shit off your mouth. And I'm like, I couldn't stand being in there. Yeah. And I think that just was like always, and it was telehandlers, you know, and it was a lot. They had like nearly 5,000 telehandlers. Wow. They had excavators, you know, but like it was a fraction of that fleet. And telehandlers are a little bit numb. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. And you know, great business. They made everything that we've got. You know, telehandlers, JCB is a huge part of this business. But I didn't necessarily have the passion for it. Whereas I've always had a passion for driving machines. So I started here 2 months after I dislocated my hip on the wash plant. So I loaded the wash plant, which was like the biggest asset for the business at the time, for a couple of months. And then once I could get about a bit better, I went and I learnt the wash plant with the guy that was running it at the time. And my dad was like hanging on me to get into the office. And I'm like, what am I going to do in the office? Can't do it. I was just like, I don't know anything about this business. How can I get the respect for the blokes if I just go straight into the office? So I did that for a year out in recycling yard. And it's the best thing I ever did, because there's still lads, they're like the same crew are out there now. And
that's good.
You know, even
good for you.
Yeah. I get on so well with them, and they, you know, I'm only nearly 8 years into it, and now I'm the managing director of the group. So I've had a serious leg up, obviously.
Well, it helps, but it's good for you though, because usually it'd be the other way around, where your dad's going to say, look, you're going to learn this business from the ground up. But actually it was you that sort of, no. Let me go and learn it. Yeah. Like that.
That probably got the respect from those guys as well for you having done that originally as well. So
it's actually one of the hardest things that I still have now. Is my granddad was so hard on my dad and made him the man he is today, but he was seriously hard on him. And he died nearly 28 years ago when my dad was a year younger than me, 33. Wow. Granddad was 63 and you know, had a stroke in our yard. And because of that, my dad flipped it, so he's really easy on me, and it's actually hard, because to be a good racer or to be good at anything in life, you can't have an easy road. And my dad made it really difficult for me with racing, because he didn't want me to do it. Not through being trying to be hard on me, he just didn't want me to do it, and that made me good at that sport, because I dug in. So almost reverse psychology without him realizing. And so I know what it takes to be good at something. And in business, even to this day, I have to almost say, like, come on, like, what, you know, stop making it, stop just saying, go on, do that. Or, do you know what I mean? And it is quite hard, but he went through it with his dad, and they argued every day of the week. There's not a day goes by that he doesn't speak about his dad, my granddad, but at the same time, it was a tough relationship. Yeah. So it's flipped on its head, but I also struggle with that a bit. You know?
Sometimes you probably wish that you had a bit more. Not criticism, but a bit more of a push.
Yeah, if you like. And just say, like, don't fucking do that. Or we didn't used to do that. Don't do that. And, you know, there's times where we've had challenges in the plant hire company, which has been sort of like what I ran with when I came into the office, was plant hire operated plant. And in the end, I'm like, why have you let me fucking make this mistake? You've been there and I wasn't really part of, you know, that But yeah, no, we didn't do like that. And I'm like, fuck.
Tell me.
So yeah.
But I guess we all learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's making you the better person then, I suppose, by thinking, right, never do that again.
Yeah.
That's where we'll do it now. So I understand. But
it's strange.
Yeah. What's funny as well is you've just mentioned your dad. So like when other people said, what are you doing getting into plant hire, or what are you trying to do with tippers or whatever, like with the trucks, you clearly with the motocross sort of like, I clearly got a bit of your dad in you. This stubborn, no, watch this, I'm going to do it.
I know. And it's funny, the more I wasn't that close to my dad, to be honest, before I come into this business. We always got on really well, but he's just worked all his life, and I've raced all my life. So, you know, in the week I'd be out practicing. I lived in Belgium for 3.5, 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So we were, you know, we weren't close at all. And we did argue a bit about, you know, he really backed off from the racing because he'd stand there and go, why are you doing this? Or why are you doing that? And I'd be like, what do you know? You never did it. Because he didn't really race, and certainly at a high level at all. So it wasn't until we came to work where it was like massive respect. All of a sudden we understood each other, and we realized, like what you just said, we're actually way more similar than we both realized.
Just different paths at the beginning, but actually
completely. I remember it's clear as day, him and I were sat in his kitchen when he started this business, and my mum was on him like, what are you doing? You've spent all your life tearing your hair out. How old was he then? So he'd have been 53. And he was going to do it all again with this place. And him and mum were going at it a bit. And I remember sitting there going, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And he was like, what? Well, why do you still want to race? And I went, what do you mean? He's like, you've got everything you need. You know, you've got, you've got a house here. You can, you know, why are you racing to earn pittance a year, risking everything, hurting yourself still? And I said, because I like racing. I said, that's my passion. I said, like, I don't just want to ride around with my mates. And then he said, well, I like working. Yeah. I like the confrontation of having a deal with someone. And we both kind of like looked at each other, and it was like, so racing is conflict. You're elbow to elbow. Yeah. You all hate each other from the moment you get on the bike till the moment you get off it. And actually it was like, we're a bit more similar than we
business is very similar.
And his crack is having a deal, and that's his bread and butter. And he's never been a holiday man or anything else. So it was kind of like, had a moment, and ever since then we've got on like way better. So.
Yeah.
But you needed time to realise that. Probably. It probably might not have worked any earlier.
Yeah. I don't think it would have, honestly. I just think you grow up, don't you? We all change so much. And I'm quite sad now. I think about Jesus. I've got 2 little girls, and if it takes them till 27 to say, I'd like to work in your business, I'd be gutted. But at the same time, you know, again, everything happens for a reason, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and it makes you the character you are. So
definitely agree. And sometimes you have got to stand on your own 2 feet. Bit of life experience. Get out there, do it yourself, and then go, okay, maybe it's time now to
definitely
go for it. Into it really.
And let's be honest, you know, he spent all his time at work, so he wasn't necessarily trying to build me as a character, or, you know, so I would have been a spoiled little twat if I hadn't got racing, because racing's the most grounding thing you can ever have, especially motocross, because you can put me on the best bike in the world and I wouldn't be any quicker today than I'll be on my bike. Yeah. It's the fairest sport, but it's one of the hardest sports in the world as well. So it was so grounding. It certainly helped me.
Yeah. And to be finishing as well, just outside of the points every time. I mean, I'm a big Formula One fan, so I watch it when, you know, those teams towards the back are fighting for the scraps, what's left of the points. Yeah. And it's almost more devastating for those guys to finish out of the points than it is to finish first or second or third. Do you know what I mean? So
it's a horrible place to be, because you're risking everything still. You're putting everything in, you're not cutting any corners, and sometimes you just can't. It just doesn't work. And and particularly like when I went onto the bigger bikes, it becomes more about your setup. I always, as a youngster, assumed you get on a big, powerful bike and you got all the power in the world and it's sweet, but actually there's too much power and you need clever people around you to make that power work. Yeah. And instead of going for a really low paying ride, but with a good team and a scenario around me to build on, I went for a better wage packet and a crap bike, and it bit me in the arse so bad. And I was exactly where you were, you know, in what you just said. That was me for a couple of years, and it's a rough place to be.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take your nutrition to the next level. Meet Huel, today's sponsor. Huel is spelled Huel and is the complete global nutrition brand trusted by over 400 million people. Their Black Edition, ready to drink, is a complete meal in a bottle. High in protein, low in sugar, and packed with all the nutrients your body needs to perform and feel at its best. And right now, new customers can try it for 10% off plus a free gift using our exclusive offer at huel.com/Talkin Shop. For me, working days can be chaotic. I'm out the door early, driving hundreds of miles attending meetings, and I certainly don't have time to whip up a balanced meal to take with me. And we all know what it's like at these service stations in the UK and around the world. The options there are only fast or processed foods. That's where Huel Black Edition comes in. It's my go-to. It keeps me full, energized, and focused so I can tackle whatever the day throws at me. Huel is a perfectly balanced meal designed by experts to provide all the nutrients your body needs from a meal. They taste so good, Huel actually tastes like a milkshake. And they come in delicious chocolate, vanilla, iced latte, and my personal favourite, the strawberry banana. It's actually really good. That's the best. Lastly, Huel is incredibly affordable, with high protein meals less than £3.42. It's a budget-friendly option that I'm genuinely excited about. Access to quality, quick and easy meals has never been this easy, like ever. Don't believe me? Take the leap and join the community of Hueligans with this exclusive offer for the new customers of 10% plus a free gift using our exclusive offer at huel.com/Talkin Shop. That's 10% plus a free gift for new customers using our exclusive offer at huel.com/Talkin Shop. And use code Talkin Shop at checkout. Start your year off strong. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes, so you can focus on what really matters. And you know what? This was actually really good, Ben. It was supposed to be for the ad, but I've actually drank the whole bottle. So, yeah, strawberry banana. Try it. Hey, has there ever been like a time for your dad? It sounds like your dad is just like plows into any, but has there ever been a time where he has gone, oh, do you know what? A bit like you with the bikes. Yeah. Is it now time to call it? Has there ever been a thought of, or even a difficult day where he's like, I've had enough of this?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, he'd tell you 3 or 4 months ago, he was like, should we fuck this off?
Yeah.
This is too hard. You know, this year, I mean, you know, you guys talk to plenty of people. This year's been hard. Yeah. He's mentioned a few times, like, let's just get out of this. Like, you don't want to be doing this the rest of your life. And I think, he's nearly 62 and he's seen a bit and he's like, this is not normal what we're in right now. And this is a difficult place to be. So, he certainly has his moments. Yeah.
Every business has it, I suppose, but as you say, it's not the first time I've heard in the industry it's been difficult. To be honest, so it's no surprise. And
the answer back, just to be clear, is absolutely no fucking way. I've got 25, 30 years of this, and I'm all in.
Just to make that clear.
That's what we want to hear.
Absolutely.
That's what we want to hear. So but the industry is obviously tough at the minute. It's so many people are all saying the same thing.
It's not just our industry, is it?
No. It's tough in general.
I think it's just general uncertainty, really. Yeah. Probably shouldn't start politics, otherwise we'll be here for days. No wonder really that people are feeling all in the same boat.
Yeah, same boat. What's the more positive though? Is there a more profitable side of the business? What's the most successful side of the business? But what's the one that's like the surprise that actually just keeps doing well, or is it a particular department? Or
I mean, sales is its own thing here, and obviously that's a big part of it, and naturally that has some good results every now, but honestly, there's no superstars. And we're thankful to have the 7 sort of key divisions. They all complement each other, but there's always 2 or 3 doing shit. Yeah, always. But they just kind of come and go, but they complement each other, and the more we put our teams together, they're working better and better all the time, and that just helps all of them. Yeah. But there's not really a superstar. I think Earthworks has been a pleasant surprise for us. But Demolition is also, in a tough couple of years, the Demolition has done well as well. So I just wouldn't. I mean, it's funny. You've got like Ready Mix and Tippers, which are local companies. We've only got this one yard. We've got 2 concrete. We've got a concrete plant here and the concrete plant the other side of town. But they're localized businesses, so they're they are limited. Do you know what I mean? Whereas a plant hire, we've only still got the 1 yard, but we work all over the country. And then contracting, naturally, it goes anywhere. So they all do their own thing, but no superstars.
No. So that's the positives and negatives of having such a multifaceted business is you'll ride all the highs, but you've got 7 times the lows as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, we never sit around a table just going, this is awesome. Do you know what I mean? We're just always, you know, there's always, one or two struggling, but it's good. It works, it works all right, but it's a massive headache as well. Yeah.
Feels like if it was all easy and if everything was just going smoothly, it sounds like you guys as a family would just get bored.
Yeah, we'd be,
especially your dad.
Definitely. It just would be, it wouldn't be
a challenge.
We all need a challenge, don't we?
Yeah, of course, to keep it going.
How do you find the rental side of the business? Well, I think we're in a world where I think a lot of people don't really have a lot of respect for things. Yeah. I mean, do things generally get looked after? I mean, I know you can't put a general on that. There will be people that don't look after things, but how do you sort of deal with if you have them back in a really bad way? I mean, just sort of.
I mean, my dad's numb to it now.
Right. Okay.
He's, he's like, well, it is what it is. And how long's it been out? And if it's been there for 2 weeks and it's got no paint left on it, you charge them absolutely everything to put it right, which they deserve. Do you know what I mean? But if it's been out for a year and there's a couple of scratches on it, well, look, we're construction. We're on a, it's not a silky smooth business. So, but I still take it quite personally. I, really, really passionate about our machines, and we do provide some good kit, and
beautiful stuff out there. Like it's all clean. It's all,
we do look
really
after
nice.
it. We really do. And it does break me when you see them come back. And I don't know, I feel like since COVID, obviously we've had this labour shortage, which hasn't really got much better, and so there is lower skilled people in positions that sat on a 360, for example, and they've got the ticket out of the Kellogg's packet, and they're driving a Volvo 380. You know what I mean? It's like the Rolls Royce of 40-ton machines, and it's just like, do you not realise? Do you know what I mean? But they don't. They don't really. A lot of these people don't have a passion for it, and they don't really. They don't get it. But it's a shame because there's some bloody good people out there as well that they send it back and you think fair play, like they've not even worn their shoes in the cab, and you just think, and it's a shame that they tar the the bad ones tar.
If they all come back like that, you'd be
exactly.
You'd be happy.
But it does frustrate me. It does, and there's a lot that come back. And to be honest, one of the biggest things for me is how much excavators get tracked about nowadays.
Yeah,
you look at the tracking time on a 14-tonner, and it's done like a machine that's done 3,000 hours or 2,700 hours. It's done 700 tracking hours.
Wow.
And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just get a 3CX or get a rubber duck, or I don't know. And that crazes me. And that, I think there's a serious bit of education needed there. Do you know what I mean? And we're certainly going to start looking at that more and making people more aware and saying, look, you're going to have to pay, because a 13-ton digger with 3,000 hours now, the running gear is knackered on it. And you're like,
it's all wear and tear.
Yeah, and it's like the old thing. It's like it is a crane. Like a digger is, they're not designed to be just running about like a wheelbarrow. But
it's education. A lot of the time, isn't it? And
no, there's a problem. It's not. I mean, it affects us as well. The lack of training there is out there for technicians and engineers and fitters. It's diabolical, to be honest with you. There's across all industries, the education. I feel like the country in general is just getting worse at everything.
It is, but it's not just us. You listen to Americans, especially. I listen to a lot of different things over there, and we're not on our own. You see these training centers popping up for the tier ones, and we can do boot camps and all the rest of it. It's fine, but where's the business element of that? They go into a boot camp let's say for an operator, and they do a course, but do they ever step foot into a business and see what happens in that business and the aggro that happens and all the rest of it? Do you know what I mean? That's where I think there's a lack of connection there between just being trained to do something and then how does a business work and what are the implications you're going to cause if you don't do this properly. And we've got, as of May next year, we'll have 18 apprentices, but we make a habit of when they come off their course, they come into the business for a couple of weeks. And it's not just apprentices. Any new starter, like a new tipper driver, they sit with a tipper driver now for a couple of weeks and go through the motions, and I see how everything works.
Yeah.
because just throwing people into a business and expecting them to understand it and how it works, it's not reality. So we've all got to be better at it. I've got the bit between my teeth with that, with youngsters. You know, it's very easy for someone, my dad's generation, to say, young people are a load of shit and they don't want to know. It's not true, but they've just got to have everything spelled out for them now. Yeah. They've got to, you know, when they start, what does my next 5 years look like? Well, there you go. That's what it might look like if you do what you're supposed to do.
They can physically see it in front of them.
But if they don't see it, they don't want to know. They're on 2 minutes and they're up the road looking at something else. So it's not all bad, but we've just got to do a better job of spelling it out for people now.
You need sort of like a carrot on a string now.
Which, look, we're all, you know, the generation is, but you can't just to write it off and say, a load of shit. It's like, it's not the crack. Because if I'm going to have a business here 30 years time, we've got to deal with it the right way, haven't we? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a thing or one thing or a particular thing that Tru7 do that sets you apart, that you feel?
I just feel the passion. The passion in this business is rife, you know, it's built off of that. It's not built really off anything else. It's passion and drive and determination to look after our customers, our people. You know, I feel like we do a good job and we're getting better at it all the time in putting that, you know, in having our people feel that. You know, even down to site supervisors, you know, they come into the business, going back to what I just said, they come into the business. My dad sits in the end office. So they're, you know, the top of the business is in the same room as them. And, you know, and they see, we might be kicking off at the end of the desk. Why the hell has this happened or whatever? And they get a feel for it. And I think, you know, people here really care about what the truck looks like, care about the service on the site. And look, we don't get everything right. And we can't, there's always things that happen on a daily basis where we wouldn't perhaps do it ourselves like that. But generally, I think that's how we stand out is the passion throughout. And obviously, look, I mean, the simple things, but perhaps not the easy thing of nice equipment. You know, we really try and
stand out
that. But that's easy in one sense. You know what I mean? You can go and buy new things, but you can't buy passion, can you? No. You can't buy care.
No.
So I feel like that's probably the one thing I would say.
The passion comes from the people, and the hardest thing to do in business is employ people.
Absolutely.
So fair play. What's been the biggest repair bill you've got then? Because obviously you take it personal. What's been the worst, not necessarily the biggest bill, or what's been the worst state a machine's come back in or cost or?
380 into the sea.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Bad. I wasn't expecting that.
That's one that will stay with me forever. I was on holiday at the time.
Oh, that's not what you want to hear when you're on
holiday.
No way. 2 days after my birthday on holiday with the family, and the 380's gone in the sea. So we were doing, we were on hire at the time, Felixstowe docks. Just the sand moves around every year, obviously. And there's right near the shipping lane basically, and we had a lad on the digger who he shouldn't have been there, to be fair. We had all employed blokes on it, and the one bloke that got subbed in was
was the one you didn't want.
And
for that day.
That sometimes it's weird on these coastal jobs. They come up with like the odd bit of clay, and there was a bit of clay in his bucket, and he thought it'd be a good idea to clean it side on, not the tracks facing the sea, but side on, and didn't realise there's, I mean, huge shelves when you're working on coast, and the shelf into the shipping lane is about 80 metres. And
nice.
Cleaned the bucket out, dropped, and they couldn't get it out, and then the sea started, obviously the water came in, so had a complete tile over it and then back out, and about four big recovery vehicles to get it out. So it was a write-off, but never forget that one.
How do you,
where's that now?
Exactly. That's I think it's in
still in the sea
in Brunton for whopping about 1,000 pieces on sale, I think. But no, it's rough, and the embarrassment involved. I was just like absolutely horrified. I couldn't get it out of my head for months, and certainly learned from that one.
Did any of the local news, did they get
all over it? There's probably photos.
And all publicity is good publicity.
And naturally, because we have nice things, and Dad drives around in a nice car, everyone can't wait to stick the knife in. All the local companies,
that won't bother
all over that. So
it's actually the opposite. You know, you pride yourself on having nice kit, so when that does happen, it hurts you more.
Exactly.
And if you take things personal as well, like I take things personal with business far too much as well. And we were talking about this literally on the way here about that's proper weakness of mine, to be honest with you. But sleepless nights.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been there 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, and the missus will go, why can't you sleep? I'm just like, just work.
Yeah.
So
exactly
sad.
Yeah.
So
when you're
sad.
passionate about something,
of course,
you do take it personally. You treat it as your own, don't you?
The highs are the greatest, but also then the lows are way worse when you've got the passion and you're upset about it.
We had a lot of problems with fuel as well. That's a wind up, people putting shit fuel in machines and cutting corners and buying fuel off people they shouldn't
it's
be
a
buying
rental
them off or whatever. But you just and it costs thousands, you know what I mean, the injectors and whatever, and they're just like, what do you mean it's 16 grand for, and you're like, what do I mean? It's just like you were talking about a 2022 like a Volvo EC2 26-cylinder engine, and you put a load of shit in it. What do you expect?
That's it. It's not just emptying the fuel tank, it's everything else it's gone through.
And this is the problem. Everybody's trying to find shortcuts now and cut corners because of margins are getting thinner, times are getting harder. Everybody's trying to do it, and everybody's sort of digging the knife into each other in a way.
On the top of parts and machines that aren't getting any cheaper either,
definitely.
That's me saying that. I'm sure you'll vouch for me on that, but it's I can imagine it's is it difficult trying to get hold of equipment these days in terms of machines, or are you sort of ordered up quite?
No, so it's funny really. If you looked at our business 3 years ago, we ordered. So in 2021, we ordered our kit in May for the next year, and it was late the next year. So it still didn't come at the right time in 2022. And as of right now, we've ordered hardly anything for next year.
Because it's already...
Because it's just, they've got stock and we're just sat there and we don't really know what we want to do. We've got a good young fleet at the minute. Cost of new is so high. Our prices are going down. Our margins are being sliced. And we're like, you know what? We'll sit still. And we've had the odd deal with where things have been, have come up and it works. So we've got a bit coming, but at the minute we're sitting still.
How long do you sort of keep them for?
3 years.
Okay.
We were strong with 2 years for a while, but COVID just nailed that completely. So, and the used market's absolutely on its arse at the minute. So that makes obviously renewing your fleet even more difficult. So it's a moving target at the minute.
So with Fork Rent then, and obviously Tru7, JCB in particular must love you guys. You must spend a lot of money.
I don't know about love us. We're not the easiest client. But it's close to home. Do you know what I mean? My granddad dealt with Lord Bamford in the late 70s, 80s. So it's an old relationship. And it's a good one, but we're always challenging each other, as you can imagine. I think that's probably why it's strong.
Business.
Yeah, and it's business, isn't it? So we all get comfortable if we're left alone, I guess, aren't we? So but it's a big part of it. And my dad's openly said JCB has played a huge part in this in our success for sure. But I dare say an order of 2,000 or 3,000 machines at one time is a fair bit of their success as well.
Massively. Absolutely. And it must be tough for the manufacturers at the minute as well, to be honest with you, because they're relying on you guys to be busy and then their orders get hit as well. But by the way, if anyone can hear some snoring, I doubt we can. I don't know if you can hear it, but the pup is the Tru7 mascot.
He's snoring behind me.
Currently side lying. That's it. That's how I feel right now.
I love it. So Tru7's been going for 7-8 years, did you say? Sorry?
I think it's nearly 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah,
okay. What's the turnover now?
I think it's just shy of 90 million.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a lot in a short space of time.
Yeah. And it got there 2 years ago, but obviously the last 2 years we've sort of plateaued.
Yeah.
With the way everything's been.
Yeah, of course.
But that's it had substantial growth quickly, and it wasn't like we were trying to get that. We just went with the flow. We were determined and tried to make things work, and here we are. Really, it had its pain. That's for sure. We certainly grew a bit too quick at times, and went in a bit hard with certain things, and that challenges the people element straight away. You can, like I said earlier, you can buy them new machines and you can sell machines, but the people part of that is tough. And we're a family business built off a passion, and all of a sudden you become disjointed. And my dad and I are too busy actually just doing our job to give people time. Yeah. And then it becomes really difficult. I mean, we employ 260 people now. So in order to try and give them the time they deserve, or their teams the time they deserve, and whatever else, it's a challenge, and something that we're certainly focusing on to make them feel a part of it, or continue to feel a part of it, and feel in touch with everything.
That's the winning formula.
For us, I guess so. Yeah, that's that's if you compared us to I don't know a Blackwell Earth Moving, they're a giant company, and whereas we're a tight knit company, family run with a lot of strict values that we need our people to focus on as well as us. So. Yeah.
And believe in as well.
Exactly.
Because you've got to sell it to them.
Yeah, 100%.
What's it like then? Because if you both, I don't know if you are, I don't know if it's, I can say you're stubborn just from talking to you, but because you're both quite straight onto what you want to do, and this is with you with your biking, your dad with his businesses. What are you both like working together? Do you clash a lot? Or?
We do all right, to be fair, considering we are very different people though. Yeah. So like my dad's, Mr. Careful, and don't do that, be careful of that. Whereas I think my mum is probably a bit of a loose cannon, so I've probably got her side of like...
a bit more impulsive.
Yeah, and I'm sort of I'm a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde really. I guess in business I'm a bit more like my dad, but then outside of business I'm like horizontal in terms of like chilled with most things, but equally then I get on a bike and I become the most hot-headed person you could ever meet. So I become my dad again. It's really weird. It's like
it's good to have a bit of both of that though.
Yeah. I think so. And I think it's just your history, isn't it? Like I went away pretty much at 16 and was away from family, and I was around different people and spent a lot of time in New Zealand and with different characters, and you just pick up people's traits, don't you? And but we do all right. We don't really argue much at all. Like I said, a challenge is sometimes him not backing me into a corner enough with certain things. But it's interesting. He started the ready mix concrete business when I started the Earthworks division. So we've kind of like almost got this little competition without talking about it, that they both start at the same time and we're comparing them a bit. So
it's a good challenge to have.
It's a bit of that. But no, we get on all right, but we're extremely different people outside of work. He still can't quite work me out outside of work.
No, but that's probably how it works though, because if you were too similar, then
and as well, I think he's a typical hot-headed old-fashioned character, hits something head on. So when you're employing 260 odd people, you've got quantity surveyors, contract managers, site supervisors, tipper drivers, digger drivers, washmen, yard managers, like you've got to wear so many different hats, and particularly in this day and age, you've got to treat everyone a little bit different, and that's probably his weakness. He's got so much better at it, but I think that's probably my younger element coming in. But I can't also be him when he's here. That's the thing, he could probably, he's never said it, but I dare say he wasn't like his dad until he wasn't there anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because all I hear about is how, my granddad died when I was 7, so I don't remember him that much, but certainly in business, I speak to people and he's the fiercest man you could ever meet in business. And I feel like my dad's kind of that now, in a way. And he certainly was that at Falkren. But I can't be that when he's there. Do you know what I mean? We've got to be, we kind of work well together, but you're your own man as well, aren't you?
Yeah. And then eventually you might put that out.
Perhaps. I'm not rushing him out of it. He's still the man.
I think that's it. It's just seeing it all happen as well, I suppose. It's experience, isn't it?
Definitely.
Just a quick message from our sponsor. Do you work on or run a fleet of vehicles, vessels or machinery? Do you struggle with downtime and expensive maintenance costs? Maybe you're tired of your basic diagnostic tools giving little or no technical information. Well, Eclipse Diagnostics have you covered with Jaltest, the leading supplier offering advanced diagnostic troubleshooting with OEM level technical information inclusive of wiring diagrams and repair manuals. Eclipse dedicated support teams are on hand to keep your fleet moving, offering remote product support with the capability of ECU programming and even software updates. Take back control of your fleet and inquire with Eclipse Diagnostics today. Quote promo code Talkin Shop to receive a free cable saver with your order and keep your valuable equipment well protected. Thanks again, and back to the podcast. What's the biggest achievement, or what's the proudest thing you sort of take home with your time with Tru7 since you started?
The Earthworks division, definitely. Really, that was solely my idea and my, I pushed that together. I got a bit of kickback from Dad and our sales director, Tony, who's been my dad's right-hand man for the last 30 odd years. It was very much all contracting. We're not contractors, and I was.
Do you remind him of that now?
Yeah, he's always aired on the caution with, he's a sales director. So you can imagine as of right now, we've got 600 customers and he's looked after 600 odd customers and he's looked after them as selling, renting them out machines, doing this, doing that. So all of a sudden when you become a contractor, it's like, you're going to compete against my customers. Do you know what I mean? So there was that little bit there. But yeah, I would say that, and just generally, honestly, like having the way I started, I'm really proud of now. Yeah. At the time, it felt like the only option. It wasn't like I was doing it to think, in 8 years' time, I'll be looking at that going, yeah, that was the best thing I ever did. It was like I'm extremely grounded, and I knew that was my only way into the business. If I sat in an office, I'd just switch off and dream about what I could be doing outside. Yeah. So, but I'm proud of that now. Do you know what I mean? It's done me good.
Yeah, nice one.
What would you say the future of the business is?
Just becoming stronger at what we're doing. Yeah. There's no huge ambition to grow in any particular way. I just want to get better at what we do, quality over quantity, and just bringing our people closer together all the time. I mentioned before, but you have a demolition contracting division, and then you have an earthworks division. For an example, they share a lot of the same qualities in terms of the people, but trying to get them to work together and do a bit of demolition and earthworks, and that cohesion between the two is really, really difficult. Right. But we're getting better at that, and I just want to keep building on that. Yeah. And like our head of aggregates, he's out there selling, hiring out plant as well, and and just things like that, and vice versa. The plant hire guys answering the phone, okay. Do you need any concrete? Do you need to, and that's just something we would just want to keep pushing. Yeah. And there's not a huge drive to grow in any particular way. I'm really passionate about the earthworks and the demolition side of things. So certainly I feel like there's going to be growth to come out of there. But like I said, it's not like we're just fascinated on that. We just want to get better. Yeah. And where that leads us, we'll see.
Well, you've come this far, and it's something's worked. So I
feel like the easy bit has been now though. A lot of people think growing a business is the tough part. But I think in the early days, I don't necessarily think it is. It's a bit like becoming a good snowboarder or a good motocross rider. You can make big steps quick to start with, but the last steps are the hard ones. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's probably where we are now. We're now in the difficult steps of, if we want to get better, it's difficult.
The finer details.
I think some companies could become a little bit complacent with what they have, if you like, and they stick to the same formula. Whereas you say, you've got to evolve, you've got to look for that next. How do we do better from here? So that's exactly what.
And I feel like the relationship my dad and I it certainly helps that in terms of he's got his way, but he's also incredible for a 61-year-old man. He's so open to change as well, which is amazing. Like, someone that's successful as he has been, he's still so open to a change. And like I said, sometimes I almost want him to challenge the changes I suggest more. And then added to that, the people that he's built around him and I've built around me in my short space of time, there's a good recipe for new ideas and new ways. And look, we're similar in a lot of ways. So the people around us have to pull us up in a similar way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We're sometimes too determined and the throttle gets wound back a bit too quick, and it's like, whoa.
It's good for people to look in on it as well. It's sometimes easy to miss these things.
And we really do, listen to our people. It's not like it's him and I and just ploughing along and bollocks to what they're saying. Yeah. We do listen and value what they bring to the table.
Look after them and they look after you.
That's the way the world works, isn't
it? What's the have you, I don't know if it might be personally or what's the biggest mistake Tru7 or Jake at Tru7 has made? We thought, wish I never did that.
Putting that man on the beach.
I did have a think. Do you know what? I was like, do I ask this question? Because I think I might have.
I would say we bought too much equipment last year. Okay. I think, and look, it's not a huge mistake because we're fine and we're doing what we're doing now. But I feel like 22.
I think everybody's in that position. By that, I'm going to put that out there. I deal with a lot, and everybody's pretty much saying the same thing with that.
Pushed into a corner, really, coming out of 2020, thinking, well, we can't get hold of them, so let's order more. But then all of a sudden they come.
Exactly that. And 23 was like, 23 was an odd year, and we thought like, right, 24 is going to come back. And it just hasn't. It's been exactly the same as last year. As 2023. They've been so similar as far as years go. But I feel like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel now. Yeah, it's uncertainty. It's the worst it's ever been in terms of outside of your own businesses. But I feel like there's a little bit more certainty coming up. And you know, where we are in the world, we're in the middle of nowhere, but there's a nuclear power station being built 20 minutes from here. So there's a bit of a backbone there for construction companies. It's also going to bring a lot of challenges, but that's no doubt helping our feeling a little bit too.
We need some more projects into infrastructure in this country. And we don't want to get 50% of the way there and then back out of it. Let's get HS2.
I thought you were going on that route.
But then again, you know, I hear all the time they're awarding new contracts on that job, so it's still
going on. There's still plenty of work there.
More money's been pumped in. I think it's sort of coming back out.
I think the initial plans have all gone though, haven't they?
Yeah. But like you say, I think it'd be nice to take a leaf out of America's book. When things get tough, build infrastructure. It's just, you know, and build their way out of it. But it's not as simple as that.
No, of course. No.
Well, the trouble is, I think in this country, you've got everybody trying to undercut each other.
It's brutal, isn't it? And certainly, it's a small country, isn't it? You know, we're crammed in. You know, it's, I don't know, people in England or in GB sort of say, we can't work in Manchester. It's 3 hours away. It's it's up the road.
I know,
for God's sake. Do you know what I mean?
Compare that to America.
It's so small, and like we've got equipment working in Scotland at the minute. And, you know, people are like, well, you got to get out there. And I'm like, it's 10-hour drive. Like, it's not like, we're not talking like, I don't know. I think that's island mentality.
It is crazy because we did a bit of a road trip across California, Nevada, and we were saying, we've just done 10 hours driving today. And we've done a smidge of California. We've done like a quarter of it. I don't think it was even that much.
That's like Inverness to all the way around.
It's craziness. So we don't know we're born here for stuff like that. Actually, it is quite easy to get there. It's just our roads aren't great, to be honest.
The road network's terrible.
If you do a lot of because if you were living in Belgium, it doesn't take you long to realise actually. I know they're all toll roads and I know they're privately owned or whatever, but their roads are way better.
Oh, you can't, way better. You can't get about too quickly here. No. You've got to be an early starter if you do.
What are the daily duties as a managing director of Tru7 for you then? What do you find like your day to day is at the minute?
So it changes, I guess, all the time, but I try to be one of the first people here every day. I hate to say it, but I have to look at a computer quite a lot.
Which doesn't seem like you. That you'd enjoy that.
Not
I think you've said about 5 times, I wouldn't like to be in an office.
Exactly.
Do you know what? We're exactly the same. I totally get it. Get it.
But Dad always said to me, he's like, you're going to earn more money fucking driving an office than a fucking digger, boy. So don't worry about it. All right.
Heard, Dad. Heard.
Maybe not now, though. They're earning a fair bit of money. But so I guess, in here, meetings, so many meetings, so many bits and pieces. But when I get time, I'm marching around the yard a lot, looking at the fleet and just making sure we're up to scratch with various bits and pieces in and out of the workshop. We don't have loads of middle management here, so I guess try and touch as much as I can. I try to get to one of our earthworks jobs certainly as much as I can, but probably this year talking like 1 a month. So really not good. But time management is a challenge for me, real challenge. I think coming from a world where I just went with the flow with racing, where you know, it sounds stupid, but I got hurt so much in that sport where I kind of followed literally a day-to-day path that would lay out in front of me, because I feel like if I kicked back and went against what was going to happen that day, I'd get hurt every time. So more or less, I'm trying to get out of that a little bit now into the working world and actually stick to a bit of a schedule, but I still am a bit of a free-flowing person in the business. But just in here every day, going through the motions. So, but where I sit at the minute, I share an office with my dad. I'm next door to sales. I'm next door to hire. I'm next door to the tippers. Ready mix and earthworks and demolition are across the way in another building. So we're just hands on all day, and there's always, you know, people in and out of to see us in terms of our own people as well as partners outside of the business come in and seeing us. So it's pretty much it. And obviously I'm still a semi-professional racer as well, so I train every day, normally before or after work, or maybe on a lunchtime. My dad, where he lives, has got a practice track, so I practice once a week from January through to October, ride there once a week, which normally takes about 2 or 3 hours out of my day. Yeah. And then race every Sunday. So it's hectic. So
you still got your, you're still sort of interested in that still.
Well, I tried to stop. Right. I tried to stop. In 2022, I had a bad crash practicing at my dad's, and I had a bad concussion. And I'm lucky I haven't had many concussions in my career. So I've broken a lot of limbs and bits and pieces, but not really had many concussions. And they're a bit more personal. Do you know what I mean? If you break an arm, you can kind of put it away.
It fixes
itself. But a concussion, you know, you've only got one brain and all the rest of it. And I was practicing, and randomly my wife and our first child, she was 2.5 at the time, they were there. And I came around pretty quick, but I couldn't see properly, and I was just a bit all over the place. And it was in front of my little girl, and I was like, this is rubbish. And I broke my shoulder and a few other bits, but the concussion was the one that hit home. And at that point, we were a third of the way through that season, and I wasn't quite where I wanted to be anyway. I was 5th in the British Championship, and that, you know, I'd been part-time racing since I got hurt. So I raced straight away the next year again. But instead of, when I got hurt in Italy, I stopped World Championship there and then. And I signed with a team to do what you could only describe as like National Sunday League, but it's professional. You're still getting paid 50, 60 grand a year to do it. 12 to 18 races a year, depending on the one-off sort of friendly races that you do for a bit of prize money. And that year I missed the British Championship by 4 points because I broke my leg with 1 round to go, and I didn't even crash when I did that. Way. So, and that was my first full year working. I was still doing that, and I've done it every year since. It's been a real hard balance because I've kind of tried to, half my life I'm trying to be
juggling now.
You're trying to be blend into working world. To be a racer, you've got to be a selfish, horrible person. That's to make up of a racer realistically on the day, not necessarily overall. And so to come into a world of staff and staff being number one and customers and all the rest of it, it's been a super hard challenge. And not only because I've come from that, but I'm still trying to do it. You know, I'm mixing it and scaled back massively straight away from 2018. But then I broke my leg and I had 9 months of hell and nearly had infections, and there was talk of chopping a bit of it out. And it was horrendous, honestly. And it really, really changed me as a person, how hard that was. And throughout that, I got a real taste for work because I was just here solidly 11 hours a day. I had no choice. Whereas before that, I was still here 7 till 6 every day, but there'd be a day and a half a week where I'd go out and ride, or I'd be late because I'm running to work or whatever. Whereas all of a sudden, I was just solidly here for 8 months, and that was pre-COVID, and we were doing all right. We were growing pretty good, and got a real taste for it, and had that leg injury, and it took me, the next year I came back and I broke a bone in the same leg again, and it was just brutal. And but
It's any point when you go to see the doctors and they're like, you've done it again. You can't keep breaking this leg.
Not to go anymore. Just don't go.
Your bone now, you want to see the state of it.
Just don't go anymore.
It's like a painting.
Do you sort of feel like, though, actually it's a bit of an escape for you?
Mate, I was getting to the point where I was going to say, 2022, I had that accident and I stopped, and I actually stopped. I was like, bollocks to this. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm getting paid 40 grand a year to risk my life however many times. And you don't just risk your life when you race. I was doing 11 races a year at that point. But every time you practice, to be a good racer, you have to do it at the same level. You can't practice at 80% and then go and race at 100 on the weekend, because that's when you have accidents.
Oh, interesting.
You're not ready for it.
Yeah.
So you're always against the stopwatch. And so you're pushing and pushing. And I'm like, and I hit a false neutral on a jump. So basically when you hit neutral in the air on a motorbike, the turning mass stops and it's just a dead weight and you just drop.
No way.
And the front end, the balance goes on the bike. And I just went head first into the ground. I didn't really do much wrong. And I'm just like, what? So yeah, I stopped. It took me 3 or 4 months to get over the shoulder injury that I had, but I started riding again, having a bit of fun with my mates, and I thought I was all right.
Yeah.
And I was doing the odd event, like local, just enduro events and stuff like that. And I went into that winter, and every winter as a racer, you have a program. You start middle of November, you train, you're doing, you're exercising 5-6 days a week, and you've got something going on. And I've had that since I was like 13.
Yeah.
So I went into a winter without it. I put on like 10 kilos. I just worked here. So I didn't think I was out of sorts, but all of a sudden I came to like January, February, and I did a little bit of racing, indoor racing, but I was just lost. I was like, when that series stopped, the summer series were about to start, and I was just all over the place. I was getting pissed every weekend with my mates and struggling. And then, it got to the middle of the year, and I was like, I said to my missus, her and I weren't getting on that well. We'd had our second kid, and I just never wanted to be at home. Every weekend I wanted to be out, and I was like, what am I doing? And I realized it was just, I'm used to having a purpose. I don't like exercising. I don't really like training, but I've always had a reason to. So I've always been fit. And all of a sudden I put on this weight, my body hurts, all the broken bones I broke 48 bones. Wow. So you can imagine that my body was just, my body was hurting. In bits. And I was just like, this is rubbish. And I had to like almost have a word with myself and be like, you are who you are. I've raced all my life. I started racing on my 6th birthday, raced every weekend near enough all my life. I need to go back to it for a purpose outside of work, because work's not making me fit. Work's making my brain strong for sure, but it's not keeping me fit. I'm not ticking the competitive box on the weekend. And so I went back to it. So this year I came back after 2 years, and I had to really drop my ego, because I'm not riding anywhere near as much as unfortunately for me, I'd love to just go and race, but because of the level I did it at, the level for me to just go and race is top level still. It's professional motocross still. So but it did me the world of good. We went away in the camper at the weekend with the 2 little girls, and my wife, and I got 6th in the British Championship as an absolute part-timer, and there's 40 of us, do you know what I mean? And probably the top 20 are full-time. Yeah. So I did all right, but it just did me the world of good. Nice. And I realised that's me.
You love it.
I love it. And I'm 34.
And you can't put it down.
Yeah, there's 2 other lads that are my age, and I've grown up with them racing all my life, and the rest of them are like in their 20s. Yeah. But do you know what? I still feel all right and enjoy it, and that's my exit. Yeah, and that's it. You need an exit, don't you? My dad said it all along. Don't end up like me. You need an exit out of this place and to escape. And the only time I turn off of this place is when I get on a bike and turn it on.
That's what makes you happy. Yeah. It's so important to have that thing that you look forward to doing.
And I'm lucky, I'm so lucky with that. Dad doesn't have it, and he just sleeps.
He's not here to sleep. We have to get ready for all the problems next week.
Exactly. And it's so hard to balance it. 2 kids under the age of 5, a semi-professional career, and then this place. You can imagine it is proper hard to balance it. But I'm still young, so I'm just make the most of it. I'm not going to be able to do it for that much longer. So
enjoy it. Yeah.
What's the proudest moment from racing?
I got second in a world championship round in England.
Nice.
In 2013, and I missed the win by a point, so I was like absolutely devastated. But at the same time, that was awesome. Yeah. And about a month before that, I got my first ever world championship podium, and I dedicated it to a friend who'd passed away not that long before. So that was
that's nice.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like that motivated you as well that day?
Yeah,
to
massively.
Go and do well.
Yeah, definitely. And I, I'd always been, challenged, and you're never going to get to that level. You're not good enough, and all the rest of it. And so I put myself into a deep hole trying to get there, and worked so hard for it. Yeah. It did me the world of good. Like outside of that now, I know, like I said earlier, I know what it takes to do good at something. Do you know what I mean? And there's no shortcut in racing. There's no shortcut. Especially in motocross, there is zero shortcut. Yeah.
That's when you hurt yourself.
Yeah, exactly that.
that little bit more.
Exactly. The balance is so hard to find. Yeah.
Who's been your hero in motocross? Because obviously if your dad only did it but didn't sort of go far with it, well, who's been your sort of hero with it?
So when I was younger, it was a Belgian guy called Stefan Everts, who was he was the world champion for years. And then as I got older, a Kiwi a chap called Ben Townley, still really good friends with him now, but he came from New Zealand, so a small country in the middle of nowhere, if you like, and put himself out, moved to Belgium, and I kind of followed his road a little bit, but I was a little bit older than him, and ended up now being really close friends. But he was my hero for sure, because he had a tough path, and he did it. He was world champion, so
travelled from the other side of the world, and
shows it's all possible.
It did.
No, I love some of those stories as well in the racing, because obviously, especially with the F1, a lot of the guys in there are from very, very rich, wealthy backgrounds or whatever. And but there's an odd few, and Lewis Hamilton in particular. There's another guy called Esteban Ocon, whose like parents had like 2 or 3 jobs. They sold their house, lived in a camper van, etc., literally just to pay for his racing. And he's amazing. He nails it.
That's it. And you know, motocross is the poor man's motorsport.
Yeah.
It really is. And like you say, those guys put themselves out, and they, you know, but like car racing, it is so much about the vehicle, so much about the car. And like I said, you know, motocross is the most unbelievably fair motorsport you could ever imagine. Like genuinely, it is so fair. And
the best car wins in the car racing. The best rider wins.
It really is that, honestly.
Racing.
It really is. And I think that's half of the reason I loved it so much, because I grew up in a fairly wealthy family. It was a working family for sure, but outside looking in, I look at them, they've got a nice camper, they've got a nice van, nice bike. My dad the bike looked good, but you can't cut any, you know, there's no shortcut. And I think I was so determined with that, because it was our silver spoon kid. It's all right for you. It's all right for you. It's all right for me. Is I moved to Belgium and slept in a garage, lived in a garage foyer for 3 years. It's not all right for me. I moved away from everything. I had a track in my garden. I had like workshop there, I had everything, and I fucked it all off to go and make that career. So judge me now. Do you know what I mean? And that's
good for you.
That was huge from that side of things.
Yeah. No, you probably gain a lot of respect from this place as well by going through that.
I feel like I'm in this lost world where people don't have a clue about it either, though. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a small sport, and so many people here don't know about it, and I don't talk about it. I'm not like, oh, I'm Jake Nicholls and I did this, so you wanted to listen to me. I'm so far from that, but there's certainly people that understand it a bit, and but I don't think 1% of the people here would have any idea of what I've been through with that world, but it's fine. It makes you who you are, doesn't it? It's all good.
Got plenty of scars.
Too many, and a limp.
How do you keep fit for motocross? A lot of cardio, just running, or?
So when I was full time, you were cycling 3 to 4 hours, 4 days a week. You're in the gym in the afternoon, yoga, stretching, and all the rest of it. So it's a strict schedule. But it's funny now. I did so many years of that from the age of 15 to like 28 was when I stopped doing that strictly. Now I can't run anymore really, where I've had the injury. So I used to run to work, which was 10k with my work clothes on, and I only stopped that about a year and a half ago because of my back and my hips have sort of given up a bit with it. So I mountain bike a lot, and I got a gym in the garage, and then I ride. But where I've got such a big base of fitness from the years, so a foundation. So like I compare it now to our business. You know, we're building foundations to grow. And that's my body is that. Like I've done so many hours of base training that now I can not do anything for a month, 2 months, do 2 weeks, and I kind of get back straight to strength pretty quick. And I think that's age. I'm probably just past the peak of your body, but I'm making the most of that. You know, I don't have to do. Honestly, don't do like 15% of what I used to do. But I guess it's money in the bank in terms of your body and training from years.
Because I do a lot of I take a little bit of time off recently, but I do a lot of road running.
Do you?
And I notice like when I'm really fit, I'll be on it with my times and whatever. But then I can take like those 2 weeks, and it's amazing just how much difference when you do start getting really good, how quickly within a couple of weeks off.
It's that flow, isn't it? It's the best feeling. And I shit at running now because of the stuff. But that when you used to just run a lot and you just
feel like you've literally got like a weight tied on.
Honestly, it's rubbish. It's rubbish because I love running, and it's so convenient, isn't it, for time? Like I said, I used to just run to work. I'd leave at like 6:10, and I'd get here for 7, have a shower, and then you're sound and you've done your training for the day. Whereas now it's like I go mountain biking at lunchtime. I need an hour and a half or an hour to do it. Or, you know, evenings. We do a lot of evenings in the summer, but it just takes a lot more time and effort. Whereas running, it's trainers, bang, you got on, aren't you?
Yeah.
Especially after work as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you've had a bad day, sometimes the last
It's a
thing you
reset.
want to do is once you've done it, I suppose it's the best feeling.
Oh
as well,
yeah,
actually.
I get runner's high. Like even now, after doing it for years, I still get runner's high. I can go out. Like the other day, we were out, and my missus was like, "What is wrong with you today?" I was like, "I know what's wrong with me.
Yeah,
I haven't been running for 2 weeks."
Need to
and now,
get
and literally, I went the next day, and I was like, "Yeah, I feel good." Yeah.
I've got one of those poxy overpriced Peloton things in the garage, but that does do me good every now and again.
Yes.
I would never buy one
Especially
if
this
it was
time of
my
year.
choice, but this is would be a good idea. But it's the most expensive thing you could ever have, I think.
Yeah.
But it is handy for in the garage this time of the year when it's dark and miserable.
Yeah. Oh, the amount of times I've looked outside, I'm like, I really want to go, but nah. But then again, I'll be honest, I mean, when the weather's properly bad, I hate it, obviously, but I do prefer running when it's cooler.
Yeah, something about
I feel like I breathe a lot better as well. In the summer, I can't stand it. And the problem is as well, you can actually wrap up for winter and like keep yourself relatively warm, especially when you get going. In the summer, you can't cool down.
We're British.
I
prefer riding in this time of the year. I prefer everything this time of the year.
It's ground softer when you hit it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, love it.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming.
Thanks for having us, mate.
No, thanks for
Absolute
taking the time
pleasure.
to talk to us.
I actually, so last night I was like, I need to do my homework on the podcast because I don't like going into anything without
studying it first.
Yeah, so I listened to one last night. I can't remember his name, but he was a plant engineer and he had his apprentice with him as well.
Oh, Northern Plant, yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
I really
James.
enjoyed that. I sat on the Peloton for an hour last night. I listened to that and I enjoyed it actually. It was quite good.
That's it. It's, you know what, for us as well, we really enjoy it because it's all these different people's stories.
Yeah.
And they're so different. Not one is the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, for us it's just like, it's really interesting hearing
and then
it
we get some absolute characters on as well. We've had some hilarious characters on as well. Oh, yeah.
It's funny though, you listen to them and it's like, it's all people that just want to get out there and get on with work. And do you know what I mean? And we're all similar and say, unfortunately, when you get to a certain point, you have unfortunately, however you look at it, you have to drive a desk and be in it. But at the same time, this industry is made up of people just hard workers, isn't it? They're all hard workers. There's no one, certainly in the construction industry and plant, it's like there's no one out there just cruising. And
no, you can't take your foot off.
No,
you've got to carry on.
Yeah, you've got to get stuck in. So no, it's good. It was cool to listen to it, and I like what you guys do.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate that.
If you've enjoyed this episode with Jake, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know who you want on Talkin Shop next.